Hey, it's Cheryl Shauna, aka Sunshine Murray, and we're back with another Blood is Liquid Like Water. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a minute since I have came on the live. If I could share some of my own stories, there would probably you probably wouldn't believe it, but sometimes the distractions in life and life causes us to miss out on the things that we like to do. So I really like being on this YouTube channel. I really like telling stories. So sometimes you gotta buckle down, take care of business, and handle your business. So it's Cheryl Shauna, aka Sunshine Murray, and welcome back to Blood is Liquid Like Water. And this is the Sarnia, Canada conclusion. And just for a little recap, we had some children that were kidnapped for ransom, and their parents and neighbors are involved in retrieving the children back and delivering the ransom. uh, it's two parts to this. It's two past parts to the story. This is the conclusion. You can definitely go into the list and you can find the story time. But just to bring you up to date, the parents and the neighbors were going to retrieve the children at 12 o'clock at the uh, place that was set for destination. And when they get there, the father gets out. He has the $10 million in his briefcase. He's looking for his children. No one can see the children. And basically, they all get snatched up. Three vans pulled up, they all get snatched up. The father, the mother, the money, and the neighbors. Okay. Now, we are in Sarnia, Canada, and a whole family has been kidnapped now for ransom. Blood is liquid like water. So the father's out, and he's walking the briefcase to the destination. He's going to this big guy, this big tall guy waiting there, and three vans pull up. They snatch the father in one van and the neighbors in another van, and then all of the trucks begin to follow each other. They pull pillowcases over the father, the mother, and the neighbors. They all had pillowcases pulled over their heads and tied up so they could not see where they were going or see any of the people besides the big guy that was trying to retrieve the money for the $10 million. So as the father gets into the van, he's got a pillowcase over his head, and where's my children? You killed them, didn't you? You killed my children. And it's because he could hear and smell the smoke of a calm man in the van in the back in the van with him, and he's saying, "Didn't I tell you to bring yourself? You brought your wife, you brought the neighbors. Now we've had to kidnap everybody. All you had to do was just bring the ransom, follow the instructions, and you would have had your children." "No, where are my children? I haven't heard from my children. When I get out of this, I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna kill you. Where's my wife? Where's my wife? Where's my neighbors? Where's my neighbors?" "Shut up. Shut up, because you don't know how to follow instructions. This is your fault. Don't blame me. Blame this on you. Just calm down, calm down. Just calm down." "No, I'm not going to calm down. We had a deal. Apparently, you don't know how to make a deal." And he's losing his breath because he's in a pillowcase and he's all upset, and he begins to kind of pass out a little bit and lose his air. So he begins to just sit down and calm down. And as the ride is just bumpy and they're going along and it's quiet. And so they get to this place. And when they get to this place, it's a big, like, castle, a big, like, big area, like castle area. It's a woodsy area. And they all get out of the van. You can hear each of the van doors shut as they begin to walk into the place. And The wife is there, and the neighbors is there, and the father is there, and everyone has pillowcases on top of their heads, and told to just be quiet and shut up and follow instructions, because I am assuming that the ransom people that held them for ransom at the time were trying to figure out what would be next, what would be the next plan, since now there's four witnesses to this ransom. Okay, the father didn't follow instructions. Now there's a wife and two neighbors that they have to deal with. So that's three extra people. So they get into this tunnel, and they're walking to the tunnel, and then they take everyone into the tunnel. You can tell that they're walking down into the tunnel in this big castle, and like it's like a dungeon, and it's dusty, and it's just it's just raunchy. And then they go and they put them all into this one big room. There's no beds in there. There's just a raunchy just room, dusty room that's crumbling, like a sandy, just like dusty room. And they put them all in there, and they all begin to talk. And they took the pillowcases off of their head, and they're all sitting around, and they're just trying to figure out what in the heck is going on. Now they're kidnapped, and they're in the room, and you can hear voices down the long tunnel of the hallway, and you can hear people talking, and you can hear a lot of activity going on, and they're sitting in the room, and they're like, help, help, let us out, and let us out. And there's a guard, he's beating on the gate. This is like a gated, like an old jail facility. He's beating on the gate. Shut up in there. Just shut up. Just be quiet. Just shut up. And so they begin to decide, how are we gonna get out? And they're panicking. They're like, oh my God, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. And you hear footsteps coming down, and the footsteps coming down, and it's the same voice, that the voice that was in the van. And he goes to the guards. He said, let them out of there, and let them up to the fourth floor where there are secured quarters. And so the guard takes the women to one room of the secure quarters, and the men to one room of the secure quarters, and there's food in there, and there's water in there. And then everyone is getting settled down. This is just crazy. Now, the moral of this story time is, you tell me if you think that the story is real, or if the story is fiction. Okay. Now, and we just need to know in the comments. Okay, so now they're not in the dungeon no more. They're in another part of this big castle. And the same person that was in the band goes into the room with the father, with the men. And the father says, I want my children. I just need to know where my children are. Did you kill my children? And the man is just irate. He's like, shut the hell up. Now you're going to listen to me. We're going to go to the bank, and you're going to do what I say, and you're going to withdraw $10 million. So it's $10 more million. And so the father was like, I'm not going to do anything. You might as well just kill me now. Until I talk to my children, I don't care what you say or what you do. Just kill me now. So the man he summons the guards to come in, and the guards rough up the dad a little bit, and the neighbor, and they just give him some body shots and things like that. And they was like, shut up. And they was telling him, do you want the pillowcases back over your heads, and things like that? Or do you want to go back down to the dungeon? And they didn't want to go back down to the dungeon for sure, because in these quarters there was a bathroom, there was food, but they was just locked in this big luxury, like a bombshell room where they just couldn't get out. You know what I'm saying? And so the father was like, I want to talk to my children. I just need to talk to my children. You breaking your deal. Now you're asking me for no money. And then he was like, just do away with all of this. I can't take it anymore. And so the man walks out the room, and the security walk out the room, and they slam the door. Okay, so hours go by, maybe night into the night. Now it's morning time, and the man comes back in there and he's like, what you're going to do is, if you want to see your children again, you're going to go with me to the bank and you're going to do a wire transfer for $10 million to this address. And the father is saying, I'm trying to cooperate with you. You didn't go along with the first deal. He said, you didn't go along with the first deal. He said, I told you to come by yourself with $10 million. If you had to follow those instructions, you would have had your children and moved on with your life by now. But you had to add your wife, you had to tell the neighbors, and now we need to figure out what we're going to do with everybody and how we're going to do it. And so, in order to make this good, it's $10 more million because you didn't follow instructions. You wire. We go to the bank. You wire transfer the $10 million. You come back. Everybody is fine, and everybody will be set free. If you make any inclinations to the bank tellers or anybody, or say anything to anybody else, everybody dies. Then the man walks out of the room, and the neighbor says, I think you should definitely see what's going on and go to the bank. That's our only chance of getting out of here. That's our only chance. Now the women there in the room, they're crying. They're like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" They're crying. They're depressed, and they're talking about the children, and they feel like they're gonna die. And the neighbor is telling the mom, "Just calm down, just calm down." And they're saying, "Harry and Steve is gonna get us out of this. Just calm down." And the mother is not able to calm down. She's saying, I want to see my children. I don't know where my children are. This is insane. Everything was okay yesterday, and now today it's a whole nother, this is just a whole nother ball game. And they're going to kill us. They're going to kill us. I'm sure of it. I think we're all going to just die. And the neighbor says, calm down, get a grip, get a grip. And just stop it. I don't know what's going on here, but we're going to get out of this. And then the mother was like, how can we be so sure this thing is leading from one thing to another? Yesterday, they just needed $10 million to get the children back. The children was held for ransom. Now everybody's been in dungeons, been in trips in vans, and now in secure rooms on the fourth floor of somewhere that they don't have no idea where they are. So the morning comes, and it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and the same man come in, and the man says to him, are you ready to go to the bank to make the wire transfer? And the father says, you got my $10 million already. And then the man explains to him, I know you got it. Now, what we're going to do, if you want everybody to be free, we're going to go to the bank and you're going to wire $10 million to this address. So they get up, they leave the wife there and the neighbor there, and they take the husband on by himself. And they get to the bank, and everybody is being very cautious. And the security guy is showing his butt of the gun to him, just to remind him, like, don't trigger nothing off, don't set nothing off. If you do, everybody is just completely going to die. So they get in there, and they stand they get in the line to see a banker, because with that type of money you just can't just go to the teller. You need to see a banker. And they go and sit down, and they was like, well, hi sir, how you doing today? And he was like, yes, I would like to wire $10 million, to just wire transfer $10 million. He was looking at him. He was like, well, you usually don't make these type of transactions. Is there anything wrong? He's like, no, there's nothing wrong. I'm trying out some new things. This is my business partner. Of course, it's the one of the security guards that's show to watch him. So watch over him while he's making a transaction. And we're just doing new business adventures, and we got business proposals going up, and I need to make sure this wire transfer goes through. So they wired the $10 million to the address. So they leave the bank, they get back in the truck, so they on the way back. And he is trying to recognize where he's at, where he's going, what direction he's headed, and all of that, because he doesn't have, of course, a pillowcase on. But as they get closer and closer to the destination, they put the pillowcase on him. And he couldn't hardly see or anything of any place where he's going. So they get back to this to the castle. They take him up to the room, and the neighbor is there, and the neighbor is like, "How did it go? What's going on?" He was like, "Well, we transferred the money. Everything should be good in just a while." So they're waiting, and about a couple of hours go by, and there's a knock on the door, and um, you hear a key from the outside door opening up, and it's a young lady, and she's like, "How's everybody in here?" And then they're looking crazy, and they're like, "Where's my kids?" And she has food, and she was like, "Oh, your kids you'll be reunited with your kids in just a little bit." And they come in, and they set the food all down on the table, and um, they like, "Oh, I don't have an appetite. Where's the guy in charge? He said that we would wire transfer the money. I would get my children and I would be up out of here." And then the lady goes in and she sets the food on the table and she leaves out, but they notice that she's left the door open. And she does the same. She goes to the room with the women, and they realize that they're all in the same, hallway. And she brings the food in there, and they're like, "Where's my kids and what's going on?" Because they haven't heard anything. They don't know anything about the extra 10 million transaction wire call, or wiring the money, doing a wire call over to overseas. They don't know anything about anything. They just been in this room. And so she takes the food in there and she leaves the door wide open, and it's not locked. So after a while, about 30 minutes or so, the husbands come out and the wives come out, and they're walking around and nobody is in the house. Everybody is literally gone. And they're walking around and they're like, "Hello, hello, hello." No security guards, no guy with the big no mister guy in charge, no guy with the big butt on the gun. There's nobody. This big castle is totally empty from the north, south, east to the west of the wing. And they look outside, there's no cars, there's nobody there. They don't even know where they are. They have no phones. They don't have anything. And they start walking out the house, and they're starting to talk. And they're like, "This is insane." The mother is starting to be really upset. She was like, "They must have killed our children." And the father is thinking the same thing. Now the next step is they're saying, "We need to get to help. We need to get to the FBI, the CIA, the police, or something." And the father is like, "No, we can't call the police. We can't do that. We don't know where our children are." And then the mother was like, "Is this just some insane game that someone's playing with?" And the neighbors was like, "This is surely not a game. The children were kidnapped. $20 million is not a game." Okay, so they begin to walk down the road, and uh, the only thing to do is like try to get a lift or hitchhike a way home. It's for them. So they see this guy coming by, and he's in a big old RV, and they got their thumbs out, and they're like, "Hey, we need a lift. We don't know where we are, but we're from." Where they're from, and that's about 20, 30, 40 miles away. He was like, "Okay, I'm going in that direction. I could take you there." So they get home, and no children are there. The home is just the same. They begin to pick up the phone and try to call the number back, that there was no number attached to the ransom. There's nothing to lead them back to their children. The $20 million is gone. Now everybody's trying to figure out what they need to do, because they just assume that when they get home that the children will be there. So the children been kidnapped, then they got kidnapped. Now there's $20 million, and then that's just it. So the mother and the father began to talk, and search things out, and the neighbors began to put their 2 cents in, and they were trying to figure out, should we call the police? What should we do? Then the phone rings again. And of course, the father answers the phone, and he was like, I don't want to hear nothing else, but where's my kids? Oh, you'll get your kids, but you need to go to the bank. We're watching you. Your house is bugged. You are a bug. Your neighbor's house is bugged. We're watching you. We have everybody under surveillance. You need to go and get us $10 more million. And he was like, for sakes, $10 more million. Let me talk to my children. And then his daughter gets on the phone. She was like, hello, Dad. Please just do what they say. And the sons are in the background. They like, Dad, just do what they say. And the father's beginning to think, and he's getting upset. He was like, was I even around my kids? Was this ever even your attention? How long are you gonna do this? And he's like, how long are you gonna milk me out of my money and not, turn my children back in? And then the guy gets on the phone, and he says, well, send that $10 million, and we'll drop your children off to you tomorrow. So now he got to make an arrangements to go and wire $10 more million. So he gets up in the morning, he goes and he wires $10 more million as a wire transfer overseas. He gets home, still no kids, no children, no kids, no sign of no kids at all. So he sits there, he's so stressed out, he's so depressed, and he was like, is this a nightmare? And the wife is saying this is a nightmare, and the neighbors are saying this is a nightmare. When is this going to stop? And the phone rings. Oh, yeah, you know who this is. We received a wire transfer, and you will have your children back soon. So all of a sudden, you hear tires screeching from some vans from in front of the house, and then it's like two vans. It's the two sons, the brothers in one van, and the sisters in the other. And they pull up and they throw them out the van, and they all roughed up and everything. And the kids get in, and they're like, "Mom, Dad!" They're crying. The neighbors is like, "Oh my God!" And everybody's like, "What happened?" Like, "Oh my God!" And they were like, we were kidnapped from the mall, and that's all we know. They followed us and threw us in the truck, and this is what happened. And we went to this place and that place, and a place that looked like a castle and looked like the forest and things like that. So a few weeks went by, and things started getting to normal, getting back to normal. But the dad and the mother started to want to have some security, and they was like, we need security in case this happens again. We don't know who these people were. They basically was saying, this can happen at any time, and they took our money and our children. But what they didn't know is, when they were coming in doing the wire transfers, that the bank manager had requested uh, some services from the FBI, and that there was an investigation into these high transactions. So about 3 weeks go by, the FBI knocks on the door of the home. The children are on the back, and they're having a little company over, a little lemonade, nothing big, and they're swimming and everything. And the parents come to the door. And he goes, hi, I'm Agent Jackson from the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're here to talk to you about a couple of transactions that the bank notified us about that's on your account. The father says yes. And the FBI says, is there anything you would like to tell us now? And the father says no. And the mother says, yes, it is. She was like, we should have called you guys from the beginning, but our children were kidnapped. And that's what those transactions are. We were saving our children's lives. And the FBI guy looked at the mother and father and was like, I need you to sit down for a little bit. And he began to show them pictures. And it was like, do these assailants look familiar to you? And they were pictures of their children. And their children was dressed in black and were near vans and ski masks. And the mother goes, yes, those are our children. He said, those are your kidnappers. Blood is liquid like water. So the children set this all up to steal the parents' money. They were never held for ransom. This was their idea, and they used a couple of their friends to help them pull it off. No one was ever in danger. Once the FBI had realized that the offshore account that the money was going to was in the children's name. Blood is liquid like water. Now, thank you for subscribing to my channel. I hope you like the story. Blood is liquid like water. Sarnia, Canada. Subscribe to my channel. If you like the channel, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Share it. Thank you for all of the people that have subscribed and took the time out to listen to my story. If you see this story after it's recorded, after the live, just watch it. Make a comment. Let me know if you like this story or not. And let me know if you felt that this story was real or if this story was fiction. It's Cheryl Shana on YouTube. It's Cheryl Shana on Facebook. Sunshine Murray on Instagram. And it's Cheryl Shana on TikTok. If you have any ideas for any stories, definitely let me know. Until next time, always remember, blood is liquid like water.